The metal walls of the intergalactic trading post echoed with the usual bustle of merchants hawking their wares, but Raj Kumar wasn't interested in the standard goods today. His shipping business had suffered massive losses after the recent meteor shower destroyed 3 of his cargo vessels, and he desperately needed to settle his debt with the Zorasian Trading Guild before they seized his remaining ships. As he walked through the crowded marketplace, his worn boots clicking against the steel floor, a commotion near one of the slave trading posts caught his attention. Despite his personal distaste for the practice, slave trading remained legal in the outer sectors. He heard raised voices. A merchant was arguing with a tall, purple-skinned Zorasian official. "This debt must be settled today," the Zorasian growled, his crystalline teeth glinting under the artificial lights. "You've delayed payment for the last time." The merchant, a short, round man with cybernetic implants covering half his face, gestured frantically at a young woman standing quietly behind him. She wore simple gray clothes, her long dark hair partially hiding her face, but something about her bearing seemed oddly regal despite her circumstances. "Take her as payment," the merchant pleaded. "She's worth 3 times what I owe you." Trained in advanced mathematics, fluent in 7 galactic languages, and skilled in quantum engineering. "She'll be an invaluable addition to your household staff." Raj paused, an idea forming in his mind. If he could somehow acquire this clearly valuable slave and then resell her at a profit, he might be able to save his business. He knew it wasn't the most ethical solution, but desperate times called for desperate measures. The Zorasian official seemed unimpressed. "I have no use for another household slave." He turned to leave, but then his gaze fell on Raj. "Ah, Kumar. You still owe us quite a sum, don't you?" Raj's heart raced as he saw an opportunity. "Perhaps we could make an arrangement," he suggested, stepping closer. "If you accept this slave as payment for the merchant's debt, you could transfer her to me as a reduction of what I owe you." The Zoraxian's purple skin rippled with interest, a sign of their species' thoughtful consideration. "You would take on partial responsibility for his debt?" "Yes," Raj replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "And I'll have your full payment within 3 lunar cycles." Throughout this exchange, the young woman remained silent, but Raj noticed her eyes, a striking shade of amber, watching the proceedings intently. There was something unsettling about her gaze, as if she was analyzing every word spoken. The deal was struck quickly after that. The merchant seemed relieved to be rid of both his debt and the slave, while the Zorasian was pleased to have at least partial payment secured. Within minutes, Raj found himself holding the woman's ownership chip, feeling simultaneously relieved and guilty. As they walked away from the trading post, Raj spoke quietly to her. "I'm sorry about this situation. I don't believe in slavery, but I'm in a difficult position. Once I can sell my next cargo shipment, I'll arrange for your freedom." To his surprise, she responded in perfect standard Galactic, her voice carrying an unexpected authority. "Your apology is unnecessary. Things are not always what they appear to be." Something in her tone made him stop and really look at her. The simple gray clothes couldn't hide her perfect posture, and there was an unmistakable grace in her movements that seemed out of place for a slave. Her amber eyes met his without fear or subservience. "What's your name?" he asked. She paused for a moment, as if considering her answer carefully. "You may call me Varina." Back on his ship, an older but well-maintained vessel called the Star Voyager, Raj showed Varina to a small but clean cabin. "It's not much, but it's better than the slave quarters they would have put you in. You'll have privacy here." As she entered the cabin, Raj noticed a strange shimmer beneath her skin, almost like starlight moving under the surface. Before he could question it, his ship's AI announced an incoming transmission from the Zorasian Trading Guild. "We need to leave quickly," he explained. "The guild isn't known for their patience, and I'd rather be in hyperspace before they decide to check up on their investment." Varina nodded, a knowing look crossing her face. Then you should know that 3 guild ships are currently hiding behind the station's lunar array. They're waiting to intercept any vessels leaving without proper clearance. Raj stared at her in shock. How could you possibly know that? A small smile played at the corners of her mouth. Let's just say I have certain abilities that aren't listed in my slave documentation. If you trust me, I can help you navigate past them safely. Raj hesitated. Everything about this situation felt increasingly strange, but what choice did he have? His instincts told him there was much more to Varina than met the eye, and right now, he desperately needed any help he could get. All right, he said finally. What do you suggest? Varina moved to the ship's navigation console with the confidence of someone who had spent years operating similar systems. Her fingers flew over the controls, inputting complex calculations at an incredible speed. There's a quantum variance in the station's shield grid, she explained. If we time our departure precisely and follow a specific trajectory, we can slip through undetected. The guild ships won't be able to track us through the distortion field it creates. As Raj watched her work, the shimmer beneath her skin grew more pronounced, and for a split second, he could have sworn he saw something like a crown made of light flicker above her head. But when he blinked, it was gone. The Star Voyager hummed to life under their feet, and Varina's calculations proved perfect. They slipped away from the station like a ghost, the guild ships never detecting their passage. As they entered hyperspace, Raj turned to thank her, but the words died in his throat. Standing in the glow of hyperspace, Varina looked transformed. Her simple gray clothes seemed to shift and change, revealing hints of an intricate pattern beneath, and that strange starlight beneath her skin pulsed stronger than ever. I suppose, she said softly, it's time I told you who I really am, and why the fate of an entire star system may depend on what we do next. The ship continued its journey through hyperspace, carrying its 2 passengers toward a destiny neither of them could have anticipated. As the stars streaked by outside, Raj Kumar realized that his desperate bid to save his business had entangled him in something far bigger than he could have imagined, something that would change not only his life but potentially the course of galactic history itself. The gentle hum of the Star Voyager's engines filled the silence as Raj waited for Varina to continue. The hyperspace corridor cast shifting blue light across the bridge, making the mysterious shimmer beneath her skin even more pronounced. For a moment, she seemed to be gathering her thoughts, her amber eyes focused on the swirling cosmos beyond the viewscreen. I am Princess Varina Kazari of the Celestial Empire of Andromedan Prime, she finally said, her voice carrying the weight of countless stars. Or at least, I was, until the Shadowmind Collective staged their coup 3 lunar cycles ago. Raj felt his knees weaken, and he quickly dropped into the captain's chair. The Celestial Empire was the most advanced civilization in the known galaxy, renowned for their mastery of quantum engineering and biotech enhancement. Their royal family was said to have evolved beyond ordinary humanoid limitations, their bodies infused with pure stellar energy. But, the Celestial Empire hasn't communicated with any outer systems in over a decade, he stammered. They closed their borders and disappeared behind a quantum barrier of our own making, Varina finished for him. As she spoke, the simple gray clothes she wore began to shift and change, revealing glimpses of an impossibly intricate royal garment underneath, a dress that seemed to be woven from starlight itself. We had no choice. We detected something corrupting the fabric of spacetime itself, an ancient evil that had begun to wake. She walked to the ship's main console, her movements graceful yet heavy with purpose. With a wave of her hand, holographic displays sprung to life around them, showing star charts and data streams that Raja's aging ship shouldn't have been capable of producing. The Shadowmind Collective, she continued, was once our most trusted advisory council. They were cybernetically enhanced beings chosen for their wisdom and dedication to the Empire. But they discovered something in the void between galaxies, a dormant consciousness older than time itself. Instead of reporting their finding, they began secretly communicating with it. The holographic displays shifted, showing a massive dark mass lurking between the stars, its edges seeming to eat away at the very fabric of reality. Raj felt a chill run down his spine as he watched tendrils of darkness reach out across the star charts. This ancient entity promised them power beyond imagination, the ability to transcend their cybernetic limitations and become genuine gods. All they had to do was help it wake up and spread across our galaxy. Varina's voice cracked slightly, the first sign of emotion she'd shown. They betrayed everything we stood for, everything we'd built over millennia. But how did you end up as a slave in the outer sectors? Raj asked, trying to process the magnitude of what she was telling him. Varina's expression darkened. The coup came without warning. The collective had spent years placing their loyal followers in key positions throughout our defense systems. They struck during our annual stellar conjunction ceremony, when the royal family and all our highest officials were gathered in one place. She raised her hand, and a small orb of pure light formed above her palm. The royal family of Andromedan Prime isn't just symbolic, we're living repositories of our civilization's most advanced technologies. Our bodies were enhanced generations ago with what we call the stellar essence, allowing us to manipulate quantum energy at will. The collective knew they needed to eliminate us to fully control the empire. The orb in her hand pulsed with energy, casting dancing shadows across the bridge. I watched as they executed my family, their corrupted quantum weapons specifically designed to destroy our stellar essence. My father, the Emperor, used the last of his power to create a quantum bubble around me, teleporting me to safety. But the process was rushed and unstable. I materialized in the cargo hold of a smuggler's ship in the outer sectors, my powers temporarily dampened by the traumatic transfer. Raj leaned forward, his business troubles forgotten in the face of this cosmic revelation. And the merchant who tried to sell you to the Zorasian was the smuggler who found me, Varina confirmed. He recognized that I was valuable but had no idea of my true identity. I allowed him to believe I was merely a highly educated slave while I recovered my strength and assessed my options. The collective has spies everywhere, and I couldn't risk revealing myself until I found someone trustworthy. She turned to face him fully, and this time the crown of light above her head didn't fade, it stabilized, casting a soft glow across the bridge. Your kindness, even when you thought I was a slave, and your immediate offer to free me once you could afford it, it showed me your true character. I need allies like you, Raj Kumar, because what's coming for all of us is far worse than a few angry Zorasian debt collectors. As if responding to her words, the ship's warning systems suddenly blared to life. Red emergency lights bathed the bridge in an ominous glow as the AI announced, multiple vessels detected emerging from quantum space. Energy signatures match known Shadowmind collective patterns. Varina's expression hardened as she moved to the tactical display. They've found me sooner than I expected. The merchant must have realized what I was and sent word to their agents. Her hands flew across the controls, and Raj watched in amazement as his ship's systems responded to her touch in ways they never had before. Your ship's systems are more compatible with our technology than I'd hoped. With your permission, I can temporarily upgrade your defenses, but we'll need to act fast. Through the view screen, Raj could see 3 sleek, black vessels emerging from quantum space, their hulls seeming to absorb the light of nearby stars. They were unlike any ships he'd ever seen, their designs both beautiful and terrifying. Those ships, Varina explained quickly as she worked, are crewed by fully corrupted collective members. They're no longer entirely organic or mechanical, they're something in between, twisted by the ancient entity's influence. If they catch us, death would be a mercy compared to what they do to us. The Star Voyager shuddered as Varina's modifications took effect. Lines of stellar energy began coursing through the ship's hull, and Raj could feel a new power thrumming through the deck plates beneath his feet. The navigation console sparked with possibilities he'd never seen before, showing hyperspace routes that shouldn't have existed. I'm giving you a choice, Varina said, her voice urgent but clear. You can drop me off at the nearest port and run. I wouldn't blame you, this isn't your fight, and you never asked to be involved in an intergalactic conflict. Or. She paused, her amber eyes meeting his. You can help me save not just my empire, but potentially every living being in this galaxy. I can't promise you'll survive, but I can promise you'll be part of something greater than you've ever imagined. The collective ships were closing fast, their weapons charging with an eerie purple glow that made Raj's hair stand on end. He had only moments to decide, but as he looked at Varina, this impossible princess who had trusted him with the truth despite everything, he realized the choice had already been made. Raja's hands gripped the control panel as he made the decision that would forever change his life. My father always told me that running from the right thing only leads to a lifetime of regret, he said, his voice firm despite the fear churning in his stomach. I'm with you, princess. A genuine smile lit up Varina's face, making the starlight beneath her skin pulse brighter. Then let me show you what your ship can really do. She pressed her palm flat against the main console, and streams of stellar energy flowed from her fingertips into the Star Voyager's systems. The entire ship hummed with new life. Walls that had been dull metal moments before now gleamed with flowing lines of light. The bridge's holographic displays expanded, showing tactical information and sensor readings with crystalline clarity. Raj felt the deck plates vibrate beneath his feet as previously dormant systems awakened. The Star Voyager was built in the Andromeda shipyards, Varina explained quickly as she worked. All ships constructed there have dormant celestial tech woven into their basic structure, a precaution my ancestors took centuries ago. I'm activating those systems now. The pursuing Shadowmind vessels fired their first volley, streams of corrupted quantum energy that seemed to tear at the fabric of space itself. But where these weapons would have shredded an ordinary ship's shields, they splashed harmlessly against a barrier of pure starlight that now enveloped the Star Voyager. Quantum-shifted defensive screens, Varina explained, her fingers dancing across the controls. But we can't stay and fight, those ships are just the advance guard. I'm detecting quantum disturbances that suggest an entire Shadowmind battle fleet is on its way. We need somewhere to run that they won't expect, Raj said, studying the new tactical displays. Some place they wouldn't think to look for a princess. A thoughtful expression crossed Varina's face. There might be one place. She pulled up a star chart showing a remote sector of space. The crystal wastes of the Forgotten Reach. It's a region of spacetime so badly damaged by ancient wars that most ships can't survive there. The quantum storms and temporal eddies make it nearly impossible to navigate. Then how could we possibly? Raj began, but he was cut off by another barrage from their pursuers. Because, Varina said, her hands still moving across the controls, the Star Voyager isn't just any ship anymore. And more importantly, there's something there we need, something that could turn the tide against both the collective and the ancient evil they serve. The ship shuddered as Varina executed a maneuver that should have been impossible, sliding them between dimensions to avoid another attack. Through the view screen, Raj watched in amazement as space itself seemed to fold around them. My father's last words to me weren't just a goodbye, she continued, her voice tight with emotion. He told me to seek the light of the first dawn. At first, I thought it was just delirium from his wounds, but then I remembered the stories he used to tell me as a child, stories about the original settlers of our galaxy, beings of pure energy who left behind artifacts of incredible power. A massive blast from the lead Shadowmind vessel rocked the ship, causing several systems to overload in showers of sparks. Varina stumbled but kept her balance, her crown of light flickering but holding steady. The crystal wastes were the site of their final battle, she explained, rerouting power to damaged systems with a thought. The stories say they sacrificed themselves to seal away an ancient darkness, the same darkness that I believe the collective has awakened. If there's any hope of stopping what's coming, we need to find what they left behind. Raj moved to the engineering station, using his years of experience with the ship to help stabilize the failing systems. And you think this light of the first dawn is something they left behind? A weapon? Not exactly, Varina said. Her expression became distant, as if seeing something far beyond the ship's walls. The ancient texts describe it as the spark that ignited the first stars, a source of pure creative energy that could either build worlds or unmake them. The collective's masters want to use it to remake reality in their own image, but they can't enter the crystal wastes themselves. The corruption they carry makes them vulnerable to the quantum storms. The tactical display showed more Shadowmind ships emerging from quantum space behind them. The three pursuing vessels had fallen back slightly, but they maintained their pursuit with mechanical determination. We've got maybe 2 minutes before they get their targeting systems locked again, Raj warned, watching the readings. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it fast. Varina nodded, her face set with royal determination. What I'm about to try, it's never been done with a ship this size. The calculations alone should take days, but we don't have that kind of time. She turned to face him fully. I need you to trust me completely. And I need you to understand that what I'm about to do will bind your fate to mine in ways I can't fully explain. Before Raj could respond, the ship's AI announced, warning, multiple quantum torpedoes locked on. Impact in 30 seconds. Do it, Raj said without hesitation, meeting her amber gaze. Whatever it takes. Varina's form began to glow with intense light, the starlight beneath her skin now burning like a supernova. She pressed both hands against the main console and began to sing, not in any language Raj had ever heard, but in pure tones that seemed to resonate with the structure of reality itself. The Star Voyager's hull began to transform. The metal itself became translucent, taking on the appearance of crystalline lattices infused with stellar fire. Energy coursed through every system, every circuit, every molecule of the ship's structure. Raj felt a strange sensation, as if his own consciousness was somehow expanding to encompass the entire vessel. Through the crystalline hull, he could see space itself beginning to part before them, revealing a swirling maelstrom of quantum energy and temporal distortions, the border of the crystal wastes. The pursuing Shadowmind vessels fired their torpedoes, but the weapons seemed to move in slow motion as time itself began to warp around them. Hold on, Varina's voice echoed in his mind, somehow both a whisper and a shout. This is going to hurt. The Star Voyager plunged into the quantum storm, its crystalline form blazing like a newborn star. Behind them, the torpedoes detonated against the barrier between normal space and the wastes, their corrupted energy unable to pierce the veil. The Shadowmind vessels pulled back, unable to follow. Inside the ship, Raj felt like his entire body was being pulled apart and reassembled with each passing second. Through his newfound connection to the vessel, he could sense Varina guiding them through impossible geometries, navigating paths that existed between moments of time. The viewscreen showed vistas that his mind could barely comprehend, shattered planets caught in eternal explosion, stars frozen in the act of going supernova, and crystalline structures that seemed to be made of solid time itself. When the worst of the transition had passed, Raj found he could stand again, though his legs shook with the effort. The ship had stabilized somewhat, though everything about it had changed. The hull remained crystalline and translucent, and he could feel a new awareness humming through every system, as if the Star Voyager itself had awakened into a kind of consciousness. Varina slumped against the console, her glow dimming but not fading entirely. Well, she said with a weak smile, that worked better than I expected. Welcome to the Crystal Wastes, Raj Kumar. I should warn you, time moves strangely here. What feels like minutes to us might be days or mere seconds in normal space. What did you do to my ship? Raj asked, though he already felt he knew the answer somehow. I awakened its true form, she replied, straightening up. All Andromedan ships carry a seed of transformation within them, waiting for the right moment and the right catalyst. Your Star Voyager is now a quantum dreamer, a living ship capable of navigating the impossible spaces between realities. And you? She paused, studying him with those remarkable amber eyes. You're now part of its consciousness. The ship will never fully obey anyone else ever again. Before Raj could process this revelation, a massive crystalline structure loomed before them through the quantum storms. It looked like a city-sized snowflake made of pure light, rotating slowly in the chaos of the wastes. And at its center, something pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to match the beating of Raj's own heart. The archives of the first dawn, Varina breathed, her crown of light brightening in response to the structure's presence. It's real. All this time, it was actually real. Weeks after rescuing the alien woman, who still hadn't shared her name, Kai began noticing peculiar occurrences aboard the stellar drift. Communication systems would occasionally flicker with encrypted signals that seemed to originate from impossible distances. Strange star charts would momentarily replace standard navigational displays, showing regions of space unknown to standard galactic mapping. And the woman, who had taken to quietly maintaining the ship's secondary systems, would sometimes pause, her fingers hovering over control panels as if listening to a distant, inaudible conversation. One particular evening, as solar winds buffeted the ship's exterior and distant nebulae painted the viewscreen with ethereal colors, everything changed. A transmission broke through their communication array, a message so encoded that standard decryption protocols failed repeatedly. The alien woman's demeanor shifted. Her typically reserved posture became electric with tension. When Kai approached, she did something unexpected. She placed her hand on the transmission interface, and suddenly, the impossible happened. The encrypted message began to resolve, not through technological means, but through what seemed like a psychic translation. Holographic images materialized, showing sprawling crystal cities, massive starship fleets, and a royal lineage that spanned multiple star systems. "I am Liara," she finally spoke, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "Heir to the crystalline throne of the Nexus Confederation. What you rescued was not just a person, but a potential revolution." Her story began to unfurl. She had been hidden away during a massive political upheaval, her identity concealed to protect her from rival factions seeking to eliminate the royal bloodline. The traitor who sold her was actually part of an underground network designed to ensure her survival. Kai listened, stunned. His simple cargo run had transformed into something far more significant. He was now harboring a potential empress, a living key to a complex interstellar political landscape. The revelations were just beginning, and the journey of the stellar drift was about to become far more dangerous and extraordinary than any standard space navigation route could have predicted. The next phase of their journey tested every limit of Kai's understanding of reality. After Liara's revelation about her royal lineage, the stellar drift found itself navigating through a region of space that defied conventional physics, a quantum corridor rarely traversed by even the most adventurous navigators. Specialized sensors began to malfunction. Holographic displays flickered with impossible geometries, showing spatial dimensions that seemed to fold and unfold like living origami. Kai watched in disbelief as star systems appeared and disappeared, their existence seemingly dependent on the very act of observation. "This is the threshold," Liara explained, her voice calm despite the chaos surrounding them. "A protective barrier created by my ancestors to preserve our most critical secrets." The ship's internal systems started to respond to Liara in ways Kai couldn't comprehend. Maintenance panels that had been temperamental for years now hummed with perfect synchronization. Energy conduits realigned themselves, creating efficiency patterns that bordered on sentience. A memory crystal materialized near the central navigation console, a translucent object that pulsed with an internal light. When Liara touched it, the entire ship's interior transformed. Holographic memories erupted around them, glimpses of massive crystal cities floating in impossible spaces, advanced technology that seemed to blur the line between machinery and living organism, and fleeting images of a civilization far more advanced than anything Kai had ever imagined. "Our people were not just a political entity," Liara revealed, her fingers tracing intricate patterns on the memory crystal. We were guardians of quantum stability. Each royal bloodline member carried genetic encodings that could stabilize entire dimensional rifts. Kai learned that Liara's escape was more than a political maneuver. She was a living key, a biological algorithm capable of maintaining the delicate balance between multiple reality streams. The traitor who had sold her was actually a highly trained quantum guardian, ensuring her survival during a massive interdimensional conflict. Suddenly, the ship encountered a spatial anomaly. A massive energy signature began to build around the stellar drift, a convergence point of multiple quantum probabilities. Kai felt the ship vibrate at a frequency that seemed to exist between sound and pure mathematical precision. Liara closed her eyes, her body beginning to emit a soft, iridescent glow. The quantum corridor around them started to stabilize. Star systems that had been flickering in and out of existence began to solidify. It was as if her mere presence was rewriting the fundamental laws of spatial interaction. The stellar drift reached the quantum sanctuary in a crescendo of cascading light and energy. Reality unraveled around them, folding into intricate, shimmering patterns that pulsed with the rhythm of existence itself. Time and space dissolved, leaving only infinite potential. Liara, her form now radiant with iridescent energy, stood at the heart of the ship's transformed core. Her voice resonated with infinite clarity, a harmonic blend of all realities. Kai, this is the convergence point. Our choices now will define countless existences. Kai stepped forward, no longer a simple pilot but a quantum anchor, tied to the very fabric of the cosmos. We're ready, he said, his words carrying the resolve of someone who had finally understood his purpose. Together, they activated the sanctuary, a symphony of light and thought cascading outward in waves. The dimensional rifts that had fractured civilizations began to heal, their chaotic energy harmonized by the sanctuary's stabilizing presence. Entire realities realigned, restored to balance. In the final moments of the convergence, Kai and Liara found themselves at the center of a profound transformation. Their quantum signatures merged completely, becoming a single, luminous entity, a guardian of all existence. The stellar drift dissolved into pure energy, its essence now a bridge that spanned infinite dimensions. The universe resounded with the quiet hum of restored balance. The dimensional hunters, their purpose nullified, dissipated into the void. Civilizations that had teetered on the brink of destruction thrived anew, their histories mended by the sanctuary's influence.